friendships, relationships. So for me, as it has been said, I went to Mandela Washington Fellowship 2022. It was my first. I was the youngest, I think, that year. Yes, Lennox, really? Yes, I was. I was also the youngest in my cohort in school. I think we were two young people in our cohort. There was, I think, I can't remember her name, because and they take 25 and above. 25 and above, and when I was applying, I was 23, so I got in at 24. But one of the things that I picked from Mandela Washington Fellowship was people ask me, like, why do you speak about the experiences you had in this fellowship as compared to others? You've heard about other fellowships that I've gone to. Our Planet Fellowship, that's for youth in faith, youth of faith in climate change. I've gone to, and quite a number of fellowships. But for me, what stood out was that it was my first fellowship. I was still young. Miss Kwanga najua ukiingia kwa space how you network. Nilikwanga naingia naulizwa, so what do you do? I wear many hats. Right now, I don't say that. If you ask me what do, I will not tell you. My name is Karia. From Samburu, I wear many hats. You see. So for me, that I like to call that experience my courage journey. I learned to build the courage to even stand and talk about myself, to even own my story, to even be able to approach someone and say, you know what, this is what I do, and I love doing what I do, and it's so important to me, and I want you to listen. Because sometimes you have to push those spaces. Sometimes you'll not walk in and be like, oh, this is your space, please take a seat. Anyone who has been to a space and they're like, oh, we reserved a seat for you, in this table. Huh? There's a lot of questions, and I know I did that, and Jackie was asking me when I did my presentation in the University of Iceland. My research was around, I'm a feminist, by the way, so my research was around what women do to build the economy. And so one of the question I asked was, what do you bring to the table? How many times tunasikianga hiyo swali, what do you bring to the table? Nani sana sana huwa wanaulizwa? What do you bring to the table? Yeah? Every single time. But even in the professional space, we are asked those things. So those are some of the things. So for me, I learned to understand what I also bring to the table, and I think about it from the relationship. So when you look at relationships, and as I really want us to think about, when you're told about network building, when you're told about networking, unafikirianga nini? Ukiingia hapa useme milioni nikuja ku network. Najua mtu akiuliza what is your expectation hapa, one of the things, at least most of us will say, I come here to network. Sindio? What do you think about when you think about networking? Ukifikiria ati, I want to, build my network, partner with sijui so and so, especially for us in the development space. Tunapenda kupartner sana, collaborate. Sindio? What do you think when you think about networking? What does that mean for you? Yes, please.
Talking about networking is partnership. You've got different people, different organizations, and now that we don't know each other, when we come to interact, that is it about.
Thank you. Yes, please. For future collaboration, something important that you've said. Someone else? Yes, please.
They come to network with people. One of my main things to network with people is to get to know how people run their business, how they interact with others, and to test myself if I can get a good pitch and get a speech with some businessmen. So when I go to places like this, I challenge myself to get to know one of the biggest people in the room.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I look at it in two aspects. What I have to offer to let it you, what you do and what I can offer to what you do, and what you can offer to what I do.
Thank you. You said something also very important. You've talked about what do you have to offer and what does the other person have to offer. It's a two-way traffic. It's a two-way relationship. It's not I am going to take. It's I am going to take, but I'm willing to also give. Sindio, you've talked about you walk into a space and you're looking at the biggest person in the room. Sometimes the strongest person is not the biggest person in the room. It can be me, but I know the biggest person in the room. You see, it can be the biggest person in the room, but that person is just big by themselves. Yeah, labda ni MP, lakini tena ya juu. You know how they run a business, but they sometimes maybe they're in isolation. You also have to put that into consideration. So sometimes you have to walk into a room with your ears wide open so that you can be able to pick who's doing what, and how are you going to leverage on what they're doing. So something else that we start to think about, and it's from all the like what you said, is you start to think about relationships from being transactional. Okay, meaning what do you have to offer? You're not going to talk to this person; they have nothing to offer. So that's what we say. That's why are you talking to this person? You have nothing to offer. One of the things I did when I was in MWF, I had a database. Me, I was serious. I'm always serious with wanting to know people. And in my database, I had 70 contacts. I don't work in WASH. I work in the space of women's economic empowerment. Nilikuwa na watu wa urban development for what reason? For what reason? But I had a list of 70 contacts. Everyone that I meet, I'll take their contact, I'll go journey, I'll put that in that like a small Google sheet. Why is that important? Some of them I didn't use it then, but some of them I use it now. Some of them my friends use it. I have a friend who was doing something around WASH. I was like, oh, I know an expert that I met. I could connect you. You know, my friend would tell me, oh, Nathan would be like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm like, I know a friend who's in your space. On the other side, if you want, to build that relationship, I could connect you. Sometimes also relationships, when you talk about transformational relationship, when you move from transaction, what am I gaining? Mtu ananipea pesa ngapi? Unaingia tunasema mimi natafuta the biggest person in the room ndo anipatie. Na si more hapa anipatie what do you call it? Grant ya 10,000.
10,000 pekee.
What currency? Umesahau? We are all global citizens here. You should have asked. You see, if I walk into this space and say, I'm walking here so that I can, lazima nitoke hapa na some level of transactional, tangible thing. I've already failed in that networking relationship building. If I walk here and I say, I just want to get to know these people and what they like, maybe Timor ako in the entertainment industry, but he's very much invested in agriculture. But because I walked in, I was like, you see, Jackie, dark humor. You see what I'm saying? You have to walk in with an open mind. That's what transformational relationship building looks like. Sometimes you don't even have to pitch what you do. Sometimes imagine umefika space, huyo mtu ameongea na watu kama watu sijui wangapi, or I sell. These people just want to know what do you like. So there are days there was someone I met through the same fellowship, and she runs Chamber of Commerce, I think for the African American people in Denver, because I went to Denver, Colorado for my fellowship, and we had nothing in common. Like we just vibed because they invited us for Rotary lunch, and she was so nice and she was so kind and we vibed. We had nothing in common, but I was like, hey, I like her vibe. I don't know where we will work together, but I just want to keep this relationship. And we kept meeting once every 2 weeks without an agenda, by the way, and would meet at 12 a.m. my time. Non-investment peer. We'll meet at 12 a.m. my time, and we don't have an agenda. We'll just be like, so what have you been doing? I've been doing this. Over time, they were starting a program of supporting grassroots organizations or businesses. So they were working with MBA students to support organizations. Mimi nilikuwa hapo struggling with my entrepreneurship curriculum. I was like, oh, you're doing this program after 2 months. You're doing this program. Okay, this would work for us. If I had said, Mama, I don't want to keep this relationship. So I would have failed. Let's say I have a curriculum for people who are in the development space, how much is it to get a consultant to develop a curriculum? Tunaswetingi. ChatGPT has become our friend because we cannot afford. It is expensive to develop resources in our space. And then you get 6 MBA students telling you, you know what, we are at your beck and call, just tell us what you need. So you see what relationship does. Sometimes it's not about, okay, I'm here, I want you to build my capacity and skill. It doesn't start there. So I want you to walk into this space, talk to me. Hata kama unaona huyu msichana ana biashara, ama huyu msichana, yeah, just talk to me. You might never know. Maybe I have a friend of mine who's doing something. You have to have that open-mindedness. You also have to walk in. I always say when it comes to relationships, how many minutes do I have? Wrap up. When it comes to relationship, you have to be intentional. What do you foresee? What do you really want? And how much are you willing to invest? Something has to give. I used to see a friend of mine, invite Mudosi, na ndo analipa bills. Na tumesota, I'm like, hey, Rose, how are we paying these bills? Na tunaenda home. Like, this person would invite someone, I would go for a conference. Actually, we were in a conference, and you see like this big director, CG Health or what? Or CG NFPA was doing what? Those people. He was like, can you have drinks, bills on me? Imagine. Yeah? And I kept asking myself, these people are friends until now. They've done projects. In the last 5 years, I know they've done projects together. And this guy has been called events with this other person. But is it the end of dosing? Maybe I'm just a startup. Maybe I'm still struggling. I'm a startup dreaming. You see those mindset. You have to invest. It doesn't have to be money. It can be time. For me, I was broke, but I had all the time in the world. Maybe I will show up for you.
Yeah.
And my relationships know that. I will show up. Like me, I will always be like, what do you need me to do? Even if I don't know how to do it, I'll find someone to do it for you. Because when I make it easy for you, you'll also make it easy for me. You see, you don't need, if I show you that you can also lean on me, it makes it easy for you to say, oh, when I remember something, I will always think about you. So something has to give. And one of the things I like to say is you marinate. Yeah? You see the way you marinate those relationships, those boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whichever relation, those love relationships, you marinate. If it's the men, they're buying flowers, they're buying in my dear box. You want to marinate that, but you don't want to marinate the person that's going to take you to the next level in your career. So that's the same thing. If you have to invite people for coffee, like I have a lot of stories, but just I think 2 weeks ago I was in Meru and I was with my mentor, and she's like, so when we were having coffee and we had a good conversation, and then it was time to pay the bill. I was like, Hapa, I'm going to pay this bill because she pays most of the time. And we were fighting over the bill. Everyone was like, what's going on? Because I knew if I do not make this statement, she will always think, this girl that just comes. So every time, because she's someone who's doing amazing work in the space that I'm in, and she's done amazing work for 37 years. I want to learn from her. But she told me I have a list of my things. If I do not show up and show up well, if I don't shine, like shine well, atasema, Maria, I can always postpone her for 2 months and meet, let's say, Jane. Jane will always come with gifts. Jane will always come. So I've learned the trick of building relationship. It is small things. It is the same way you build relationship with your friends. You do that in the space. You see, that's when I used to wonder why people would travel abroad and then come with gifts for their bosses. All of travel here upata. Also, travel, boss I'll get a good perfume. I'll get a nice notebook. You have to start to think about what intentional relationship building would look like. So I will not give you the tips of, you have to see doing anything. I will just say, be very intentional, invest in it. And I'm not telling you at your go sell everything that you have so that you can shop, you can biscuit with someone that you want to build a relationship with, or you want to network with or collaborate with. Collaborate. I was heading to your English. See, it's not like that. It's just what are you good at that you can leverage on, and what is that something that you can use that mtu akikanga hivi akumbuke Simor anasema do you guys want someone who's doing this? Let me call for you my guy. You have to think about it that way. Last thing I would want to say is Lena told me, Faria, you have to speak about leveraging community for sustainability. Actually, if there's someone who knows how to run with zero budget. What was zero budget?
That is you.
You've seen me.
Yes.
Maybe I will run with zero budget and I will have experts in that room. That's how, like, that's what it does. That's what's leveraging on community. If you come to Meru, I have done a big event, zero budget. Literally zero budget. Because of our space, we've learned so much to look on the outside, we forget that there's so much in the inside.
Yeah.
Maybe you will never find me exporting or importing experts to Meru. I do a lot of my work in Meru. A lot of some work here and there with Jackie and Lena here in Nakuru, but most of my work in Meru. But you will never find me importing. I don't import. If I have a risk, like I would say, oh, you need mentors. I'm like, hey, I have these mamas that are running businesses for the last 20 years. Why do I need to go and look for Lena who's busy? I'm making Biako Resoi, north, south, east, west, and she's busy. She cannot be able to travel to Meru. She's good, but she cannot be able to travel to Meru. So if my young girls want to be mentored, they will have to keep looking for Lena, who is in Kureso without network. And they can walk to Kendi Joy, who is running a successful business for the last 10 years. No pun intended. But you see what I'm saying? There's so much within the community that I learned. I realized most of the things that I'm looking for, even money is in the community. It's hard to get. It is hard to remove, but you will get it. You have to begin to think about the people that are within your community and what they bring to the table. And the table is very important, although it is us women who build that table. But the table is very important. You see, you have to think about your friend. Mimi, you have to think about your friend. What can Lena do? No, you have to start to open up your mind to say, what is it within my community that I can use to start and then start to sustain? And then now Saneza to attract $1 million kama Benson. Umesikia na raise $1 million. Umesikia? Benson ana raise $1 million. Want to retaliate so that you can know people are doing big things out here. You see, you start to think about why biashara yangu, what is it that I can use? I'll give you one example. When I started my business, I run a business here in Nakuru, cosmetic beauty, everything, face, skin, all that. When I started, what I did, let me tell you, it was very funny because nilikuwa katika MWF, nilibakisha pocket money. I was like, what can I remember MWF for? So I had like a small money. I was like, I'm going to import some stuff. So I imported. When I came back, I came with some skincare mini products, and I started a business. So my friend gave me she's like, for you to know, I'm gonna give you a space. So she gave me a space. And then when I wanted to expand, so my Johnny Kona vitu zangu, that's what you can't do. You can't buy as much when you're importing. Half the money, if you have $500, that's like 60K. Half the money in shipping fee, so they buy vitu za 30K. So I was like, now business in Michigan, I want to expand. Do I have money? No. I am a struggling business person. So what did I do? I called my friend. So my friend had introduced me to another girl who was running a bigger business in Nairobi. That relationship, she was like, Faria, talk to Naomi. She can help you stock. I remember Naomi sent me, I think, a stock of around like 60K. When you ukipata job because your business has already started, peaking, you will pay. And that's a relationship 2022, 2020, up to now. Like our relationship has never been at let your person and then I will do that. It was just because she said, oh, you're doing such an amazing thing, and I also have customers in Nakuru. It would be nice if I stock with you. It will make things much more easier. Right now I'm stocking my own things. But you start somewhere. You have to go. Kama unataka kuanza kufanya nails, unaenda kwa Steve unamwambia, okay Steve, mimi unaweza anzanga maybe kama ka space kako, I just read from your space nini. But you get what I'm saying? Kama ni start mambo with, okay, Lena, where can I be able to get 1, 2, 3? Can you connect me with someone who can do 1, 2, 3? But everything that you need is within. Wacha kujiua na grant sana. I know it's a good thing, and I really encourage wait, grant uletuma. Aki kuna grant nili apply last year.